Hey College and Career Success, welcome back to your week 1 assignment video part 2. There we go. So I'm going to hop in the lessons area, and under week 1 videos, I'm going to encourage you, if you have not already done so, to watch the chapter 1 lecture video to give you a basis of understanding for the assignments you are about to complete. Here is the part 1 assignment video that just focuses on discussion forums, and then the one that I'm recording right now will be found right there. So I'm going to go ahead and get into our week 1 folder. So again, this is everything that's due this week. I will not be talking about your discussion forums, but those are still due. That is what I talk about in the previous video. So your introduction to college discussion and your chapter 1 discussion are both due by Wednesday for week 1 attendance. And then your response to 2 classmates, and then the rest of these, chapter 1 assignment, chapter 1 quiz, digital scavenger hunt, Title IX quiz, those are all due by Sunday. So in the materials folder, as I mentioned before, this is where everything you need for assignments or understanding the chapter is found. So you can see there's links to slides, to the text, to the PowerPoint. I might actually recommend having this pulled up for one of the assignments. So you can see I'm just going to have it downloaded, and I'm going to have it ready to go because you can reference it as you are completing your Title IX quiz assignment. That's totally fine to have that up, in a different window or minimized somewhere. All right, so let me go ahead and jump in to the assignment folder. Again, do not forget to do the discussion forums. They're just covered in a different video. So let's say you've already done those. So let's go ahead and hop down here. You have 4 assignments to complete from this video. Title IX training, college resources digital scavenger hunt, chapter 1 assignment, 5, chapter 1 assignment, and then chapter 1 quiz. So you have 5 assignments to complete here. That is not counting your discussion forums. So please make sure you still do your discussion forums. I know it sounds like I'm going to repeat myself a few times here, but I've taught this class long enough in summer sessions to know that people tend to miss things because there's a lot going on. So that's why I'm trying to repeat and emphasize. You still have discussion forums to do. They are just mentioned and discussed more in detail in the previous video. So let's go ahead and talk about these 2 together because they are similar in the way that they are set up. So the Title IX training and quiz, this is why I had you open this up because you can refer back to this if needed. So Title IX is you're going to click on it and it's going to open up into this slideshow that talks to you a little bit. You're going to click next. See, there's the talking, and it's going to walk you through what Title IX is about, and eventually, there we go, it's going to ask you questions. And here is, you can know the answers from the previous slides, or you can pull up this PowerPoint if you're like, oh shoot, I forget already. You're going to walk through all those questions, and when you get to the very last one, you want to make sure you submit it. This is an automatically graded assignment, which means Blackboard grades it. I do not. I just go in and make sure that you have it done. If you want to make sure that this is completed, and this is going to be the same for this one right here underneath it, go to My Grades, and then just simply find it in your list. Title IX, College Resources Digital Scavenger Hunt. Over here, it's going to show your score. Sometimes it might have a little blue globe. That just means that it's still in progress. Sometimes there's a 10-minute lag. But if it stays on there much longer than that, that means maybe you did not really submit the assignment. You need to go back in and make sure it ran all the way through. So that's your Title IX. Make sure you complete that by Sunday. College Resources Digital Scavenger Hunt is going to be set up in a very similar way. You're going to click on it. It's going to open up into its own window. And this is going to talk to you as well. I'm going to hit play.
Start state.
It's going to, yep, next. It's going to have links that you can check on or click on, excuse me. So then you can go ahead and you're going to look through and you're going to answer the questions regarding all of the resources. This is something I also talked about in my introduction video. There's a list of college resources under the info for current students. So you can see this here. So this is another automatically graded assignment. So when you're done, you can always just make sure that the My Grades tab has it recorded. So you're completing those 2 assignments. The Chapter 1 Skills Survey is just a check-in as you start and finish the chapter. It's not required. It's not graded. It's simply just where are you before you start the chapter? Where are you after you start after we finish the chapter? Just kind of checking in with yourself on the concepts. I already talked about the discussion forum in the previous video. So now let's talk about Chapter 1 assignment, colleges and expectations. So depending on what kind of student you are, I don't typically have a lot of CCP students in the summer. So my guess is most of you are out of high school or just finished high school. And so you're going to kind of think about this in the way that either if you are freshly out of high school, you can still answer these questions probably just the way they are, based on maybe the decision you're going to make or the decision that you recently made. If you are a little bit further out of high school, you can talk about basically how did you make the decision to come here to Stark State? So question 1, how far away do you want to live where you'd be able to drive or fly? Some of you might be living 20 minutes away and that's why you decided Stark State. So again, you can kind of answer these retrospectively, like you've already made the decision. This, anyone can answer question 2, extracurriculars. Here we have info for current students, a whole list of student clubs. You can go through and kind of look and see. Now, we don't have sports here, but if you're a high school recent grad, you could talk about how maybe you are planning on playing sports somewhere. So this is basically asking, are you going to get involved in any way? And even if you're a busy parent or a busy, working, you can still become a member of a club because they meet like once a month or once every other month. And sometimes they have you bring your children, and sometimes I don't want to say unfortunately, but sometimes depending on the field you're in, you're required to join one of these clubs or organizations because they directly connect to your major. And so that's a great thing to put on your resume. So question 2 is about extracurriculars. Question 3, this again depends on if you are currently making the decision to attend somewhere different this fall or how you made your decision to come to Stark State. Did size play a factor, teacher ratio? So talk about the size of the institution. And then question 4 is a top list of your 5 colleges or universities. So if you're still deciding, you're a fresh graduate or you are taking the CCP during the summer, what list of 5 are you thinking of going to after you graduate? Those of you who already decided to come to Stark State, was there other contenders? What was your top 5 choices? Were you thinking of Kent or Akron or Malone or Walsh or Mount Union, whatever that might be? To answer these questions, you can just click right on the name of the assignment, scroll down, click Create Submission, and the questions are already right here. So you can just answer right inside there. And then when you're done typing, you just hit Submit. So you don't have to upload a Word document or anything like that unless you wish to, but you can answer those questions right in there. All right, so that is the college and expectations assignment. The next one is the differences between high school and college. For this, you're going to open up this PDF right here. It's going to open right here. And this is going to walk you through, here are the things that were expected or understood about high school. How is college different? So, for instance, in high school, you're given frequent tests over small amounts of material. Study guides are often provided. How is college different? Some classes, you might only have 2 exams, your midterm and your final. This talks about extra credit work. This talks about talking to a teacher before, after school, between classes. Now, for some of these, it might not change a whole lot, and that's okay. But they do talk about this in chapter 1. I talk about it in my lecture video. It's in the slides. It's in the text. So if you need to refer back to your materials folder or my video to bring those things up, you can. Whenever you are done, I'm just going to type anything. You're going to come up here to the right and click Download with your changes. So that way nothing you typed in all of these boxes gets lost. I'm just saving it as a random number. I'm going to save it. I'm going to go back into my file. Right here it is. I'm going to click on the name. I'm going to go to Upload File this time. I'm going to browse my files, and then I'm going to find it wherever it is in here. I don't remember which one it was. There we go. And I'm going to hit Open. And then I know it's attached right there, and I hit Submit. It won't let me since I'm the instructor, but that's how you go about submitting that assignment. All right, and the very last thing is your chapter 1 quiz. This is going to open up into a Word doc. So you're going to click on this. You're going to download the Word doc. Here are the questions. Question 1, knowing why you're in college is an important factor in motivation, especially when you face adversity. What can you do to design a plan to remember your purpose for attending college? So think about how basically are you going to maintain your motivation? Are you going to have an accountability partner? Are you going to have Post-it notes posted everywhere? Are you going to have little small checkpoints? Whatever it is, how are you going to maintain that motivation? And what plan are you going to follow to kind of remember your purpose for why you're here? Question 2 talks about transitions. So that might be transitioning from middle school to high school to college, single to married, childless to child, unemployed to employed, whatever it might be. Does not matter. We've all gone through kind of those changes. So talk about, how have you managed change in the past? Did you handle it well? Could you have done something differently? And then how can you use what you learned on previous transitions to your transitioning as a college student? Question 3, if your first few grades are kind of lower than what you would hope or expect, what can you do? How can you consider your emotional, academic, intellectual areas of adjustment? Again, that is covered in Chapter 1 content. So you might want to go back to the text, the slides, the lecture video. So what will you do and how will you consider these areas? Question 4, this kind of relates back to our assignment that I just talked about, the differences between high school and college. It says, how will you know someone has successfully transitioned to college? What criteria? Can you look at their academics, their emotional state, their personal, their social, anything like that? And then question 5, how can you think about your self-awareness? How can you develop a greater sense of self-awareness? Why is that important? All right, so your quiz questions are 2 to 5 sentences each. So please make sure that you respond in 2 to 5 sentences. When you're done, just file, save it wherever it is that you are used to saving your documents. Get back into Blackboard, click on the name of the assignment, hit upload file, and go through that same process. Browse your files, and then find it in all of your documents and hit submit. All right, so as a recap, you do have 2 discussion forums, but I talk about that in my other video. Still make sure you post your original response by Wednesdays for weekly attendance in both forums, introduction and Chapter 1. Responded to classmates in both forums by Sunday, 4 responses total. Sunday is also your Title IX training, your College Resources Digital Scavenger Hunt, your Chapter 1 assignment on colleges and expectations, your Chapter 1 assignment on differences between high school and college, and your Chapter 1 quiz. As I mentioned in the previous videos, there is a lot going on because this is 16 weeks boiled down into 8 weeks. So I know it's a lot. Please reach out when you have questions. When you are done with a week, especially in weeks where it's heavy like this, I will send you a message inside course messages and say, hey, you're all done. That way you know you're on the right track. Again, reach out if you need anything. Have a great week.